Hi, folks. You are watching and listening to a very special edition of Open Bar. I'm Mike Morales here in Southern California, and those folks are.
I am in New York City, so I'm all the way on the opposite corner.
Oh my God.
And I'm just up the road from you. I'm in San Francisco.
Oh, hey, cool. So we're both in the same time zone, and she's at the end of her day. Gabby is. Gabby.
Oh, I hope so. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, no, when we came on right before we started recording, Gabrielle gave me a really great scoop. I'm going to let you say what you told me off camera because this is exciting. These folks are the makers, originators of damn right organic tequila cocktails, basically. You have some unusual names. One of the two that I remember are the Son of a Basil, and the other one is the Devil of the Line.
Yes.
Tell me, first of all, this is exciting. You go ahead and announce it. I'm ready to listen. What's brand new today, right now, and about 30 minutes ago?
Oh, yes. We actually just launched our online store. So gives us the ability to ship to any location at any time in the US, which is really exciting. So if you're in Tennessee, if you're in Minnesota, you can ship it to your doorstep, which is unique for an alcohol company because we can't really sell. A lot of people don't know this. A lot of our consumers don't know this, but we can't sell directly to consumers. So there's a lot of legality around selling
You're in the
alcohol.
3-tier system? Yeah.
Yeah, in the States.
The one that's been there since Prohibition? Yeah, that archaic piece of
yeah.
Well, the one that discriminates against spirits manufacturers and producers, and in favor of wine and beer producers, because wine and beer doesn't have so many of the same issues. So as we all know.
Yeah.
But fear not, you can get your damn right to you, and even better, your first shipment is on us. Shipping is on us.
Oh, no.
So just use the code DAMNFREE, and you can go on there and get free shipping. Try it.
I love the name. We were talking off camera, Gabby and myself, we were talking off camera. Why did you come up with the name and the whole color scheme of the packaging? Because that's really eye-catching for, the RTD, the ready to drink category has exploded, especially right during pandemic. It just grew. And we started to get all these submissions for our sipping off the cuff. And yours caught my eye because it was brought to my attention by a mutual friend of ours that we know. And I thought, wow, what a name. I got it. So who thought of that? And where did that come from? And was that like who was inspired to go, that's damn right?
It was both of us, really. I mean, we were like really early on, we were just spitballing names, and then we were thinking things like,
spitball.
Yeah. But it was just, we wanted a brand with attitude, right? Like we really wanted a brand with attitude that kind of embodied just, people going out and doing their thing and, and really embodied, I think, and Gabby's better able to speak this, our millennial female audience that we're targeting, the attitude they have to life. And so that's really where, kind of what inspired us.
Yeah. Our brand is catered toward the millennial woman. That's not to say that our demographic is just millennial women, because it certainly.
That's what I was going to ask you. I mean,
yeah, no, it certainly is not. The inspiration behind it kind of was the idea that there wasn't an RTD brand out there that met everything that the millennial woman wants, which is something that is high in quality, something that is better for you, more importantly, organic, and also something that gave back. So those three are our, main value proposition points that we kind of tell our consumers, but it's not to say that it is just for the millennial woman, because it's definitely not. If, we look at our demographics, there's, people of all ages, all backgrounds buying this product, which is really exciting. So, we didn't know at the time of creating the brand what it was going to be. And that's kind of the beauty of a startup. You have no idea what's going to happen in 4 months, let alone tomorrow. So we're really grateful that it's a, you know, kind of caught a broader audience. And that's really exciting for us. But yeah, this is the Damn Right Cocktails brand, and we hope that the Damn Right revolution kind of catches on.
Well, yeah, I like, you know, the name. I know that maybe I guess originally the idea was to gear it toward the female millennial, but
Right.
but the name is so powerful that, you know, it kind of emboldens the person when he says it too. You know, it doesn't matter what gender. It's a damn right it is. You know, these are really good. Damn right. You know, and I love the slogans and the kind of memes you guys are coming up with that you know, have the name in it. I mean, you can't forget it.
Yeah.
Now, Gabby, do you come from a liquor background? I mean, is this something that you've done before?
I worked as a bartender when I was in college, and that's kind of where
that qualifies.
Yeah, and I didn't work in the actual liquor industry, because if I had, I don't know if I would have started a company in it, because it's so challenging. But I kind of was on the hobby side of it all, and I loved making cocktails and serving cocktails, and kind of how I realized that, you know, I was in Boston, so a lot of the, you know, there's not a lot of niche kind of drinks there. I mean, you know, when I was bartending, so I, you know, saw that there was definitely a hole in what was being served, and so that is that tequila organic cocktail. So yeah.
So
that's come from the background.
When you were coming up as a bartender, was tequila popular back east, or I mean, on the eastern side of the United States? I mean, we know where all the hotbeds are, but in your
not as much. So yeah, so when I was bartending, it was 2015, 2016.
Oh, okay.
And it definitely not an artisanal tequila, like an organic tequila. That was not popular at all. Casamigos, I don't think it even existed. I mean, I didn't serve it, that's for sure. And yeah, tequila was definitely, I mean, in college we drank, you know, the Jose Cuervos, the low, you know, the not the 100% de agave.
Yep.
So
didn't we all cut our teeth on that? I think we all did.
Yeah.
Sadly, yes, sadly.
So we didn't really realize like the extent of the tequila brand, you know, what you could do with a tequila. So to answer your question, sure, I didn't see the extent of a really great tequila on the East Coast when I was kind of working in that industry.
Why did you pick tequila as your base liquor versus like vodka or something a lot, you know, something more affordable and easier?
Yeah, well, that's a good question. And I think that is...
Why didn't you go with something like whiskey? I mean, you know.
Well, yeah, I mean, I personally only like drinking tequila, but also like, if you know, before we did this, we kind of looked at the market and we saw where the trends were headed, and we just saw a great market opportunity for a full strength, you know, for a tequila mixed cocktail, but specifically an organic premium tequila. That is what's driving the RTD growth, and that is also what's driving, you know, tequila sales in the country. So, you know, when we were first researching this back in 2020, all the projections kind of hold true. And now the tequila market is worth billions and billions of dollars, and it's headed in an even higher direction. So we kind of hit the nail on the head, and Mark can also talk about his time at Tres Agaves, because that definitely adds factor to what our choice.
That's what I was going to get at, because I know Rick and I have had some conversations years and years ago. I had to actually look back at some of my old emails when I communicated. And
oh, really?
It was back when he was with Tres Agaves, and
that's right.
That's so funny.
Yeah, well, you know, he reminded me. He goes, you know, you might not remember, but we used to communicate. It's like, oh yeah, wait a minute, and I keep everything. I've got archives, you know, up all over the place, and I thought, oh yeah, that's the guy. So Mark, you had done this previously with Tres Agaves. For those of you who don't know, Tres Agaves is an organic tequila, and they also have organic mixers. So when I found out, one of the things that we look here when we do sipping off the cuff, we look to see whether there's a NOM number on that RTD can. Otherwise, I've got to separate them into different categories, because if there's no NOM number on it, then it could be that they're making it with mixto, no matter what their literature is telling us. So I have to be fair, to make the playing field even, I've got to put it in a separate category. But when I saw your NOM number, and I thought, oh wait, of course he would go back there.
Exactly.
You went back to the same distillery where you started because you had a good foundation of people there.
Exactly.
And a relationship. So tell me about you guys, did you both of you take a trip to Mexico and just go, let's go taste this Blanco again? Because I figured you had to refresh your memory too, right?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, this was all in the middle of COVID, so we were trying to limit our trips, right? So, but Ileana Partida, very graciously sent us quite a few bottles. I mean, we started like just when we were making it originally, like literally, I grabbed some Tres Agaves that I had, and I was like, we worked with our partners doing the flavors, and then we were like, all right, we better actually use the tequila we're going to use. So Ileana sent up some test samples of the batch, and we did that and we tasted it, and that was really fantastic. So yeah, it's great to be working with them. It's a small distillery, but it's they do a lot of great work, and they've really great quality. They've got such a huge heritage, that whole Partida family in there, and they've made Espolón, they've made Cabo Wabo, they've made all sorts of great tequilas at that distillery. So for us, it was kind of a no-brainer, right?
Well, yeah,
to be able to go with them.
If you're going to pick something difficult like tequila, you may as well go with some place that you knew about, because that would eliminate the difficulty of having to go, to go
exactly
over and figure out what distillery is going to make your booze.
Well, yeah, I mean, the other thing that's really important is that there's very few distilleries that are certified organic, right? And so we obviously knew that Aficionado is certified organic, and that was really important for us, right? So we wanted to be certified organic, and yeah, that's why other than if you go talk to Ken Fisher at Avion, like he's not going to give up his tequila too easily, and it's probably going to be too expensive, right? There's just there's not that many places you can source organic agave.
Yeah, no, there's a handful, and even I mentioned to Gabby off camera that there's really only a handful of organic RTDs out there. You can count them on one hand, literally.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And you folks were the first ones. That's why I wanted you guys quickly, because I knew, just seeing how the RTD category had exploded during COVID, and since that, it was only a matter of time, before we started to see people of Gabby's, age group and older looking for, an organic anything, organic tequila, an organic way of making things. Now, who's responsible for the recipes? How did you guys come up with, that's what it amazes me, that the quality of the really good RTDs out there, the recipes are so good. There's like ginger, and there's lime and basil. Somebody's nuts. Okay, somebody's like a really crazy chef or something that's going, why don't we try this and this? And it's like, let's go left field, let's go right field, and see what we come up with.
Yeah, it's really funny. We basically, I'm a marketer by background, and so I really get into my market research and my data, and so I previously, obviously, with Tres Agaves, looked at the market, so I knew the market for what things were doing well and what weren't, but we needed to innovate in there, and so again, we just brainstormed some flavors, we went out and we tested them, and it was like, oh, strawberry basil, like you kind of have to have lime. I mean, it's like, it is your classic margarita, and you've got to offer a classic margarita, but we didn't just want to do strawberry, right? In addition to which, strawberry is actually quite a hard flavor to do when you're doing a packaged product, because you think about natural strawberry juice, if you're fresh pressing really fresh strawberries, it's great, but if you're, trying to do something mass produced, it's harder to get that flavor. So the basil just adds that nice little tang, and it's herbal. And I think the other thing is we didn't want it to be too sweet. I think that's the biggest complaint people have about a lot of mixes, a lot of RTDs, too sweet, too artificial. And that's clearly not where we wanted to go. And, we've got we've got lots of other ideas kind of, in the back of that.
When are the new flavor? I know you guys are probably thinking about new flavors. Are you going to roll any ones out at the end of this year, or and
Probably next year.
next year? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're focusing on kind of building these out and getting a good following, which is slowly happening. But yeah, and in the person who actually formulated the drinks, you know, she is the same group who formulated the Tres Agaves margarita mixes, the organic
And
margarita
they're
mixes.
really good.
And those are award winning. They're so good. Now, and those don't have alcohol, obviously. They're just the mix.
No.
But she is a wonderful, and she really helped us. And we actually, in the midst of COVID, well, I mean, it was fall of 2020, so still, I mean, we're still in the midst of COVID. She generously let us go to her house and taste, and I'd never like witnessed that process of totally carbonating. And we would say we would want 5 more calories here or 5 less calories, and she was able to do it like that. So she was a genius. And also our team down in Mexico is also very, very well equipped to kind of make the drinks themselves. So they, balanced everything out perfectly. And it was just awesome the way that it all turned out.
Yeah, because I got to say that son of a basil really
so
sticks
good.
out for me because
Yeah.
it's so unusual, and you think that the flavors are good. You look at it as like, it's gonna clash. No, it's not.
Right.
It doesn't.
I could drink so many of them.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
That's why I don't have any here. So,
Well, now you can buy them online.
yeah,
Exactly.
Online. Tell me again where I can buy them online.
on our website.
Yep.
You can just go buy Damn Right Cocktails, or you can just go shop.damnrightcocktails.com.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool that you can do that.
I know. I'm so happy that we did that, because I have like friends that, I'm in my mid-20s, and they live all across the country, and they're just like, when can I get it? When can I get it? So now this is a very easy solution that I can just say, here you go.
So let me ask you this now. How did the two of you come together? Where did that happen? Because
yeah,
I know Mark had previous experience and in the liquor industry. You as a bartender on the other side of it. But who brought you guys together?
Randomness.
Yeah, no randomness. I was I used to work in the events world, so doing conferences for like the big pharmaceutical companies. And once COVID hit, I got laid off. And so I was kind of figuring out my next move. And I wanted to start my own tequila company, tequila RTD company. And I thought it would be awesome if I could use an already established tequila company. And that's where I reached out to Tres Agaves, and Mark was the one who answered my email, and then him and I started talking, and so then we joined forces and started this. It was kind of serendipitous and worked out.
Yeah. And it was interesting because this was right at the point where Tres Agaves was being sold to Trinchero, and that hadn't been announced, so I couldn't actually tell Gabby what was going on. But I wanted, at the very minimum, I wanted to help her out, and so we started the dialogue. And then it was like, okay, well, I'm looking for something to do. You're looking to do this. We have mutually, and we're very compatible. We have really great mutually compatible skills. I come from a marketing background. Gabby comes from an operations background. So and she's just really entrepreneurially minded, and it's just a really great fit, and it's worked out really well. And we went from zero, right, in starting the company in October 2020 to getting the product into the market by August of 2021, which is 9 months, which is kind of a little nuts when you think about it. No one, I think, has done something that quickly.
There's one particular woman who I've interviewed, and we've tasted her tequila, and she is a former lawyer out of Chicago. She brought her tequila to market from inception to the border to the shelves in 20 months, and that's hard to do with a tequila.
Yeah.
Now she's just rolling out a second expression. So when you talk about RTDs, especially with the boom that happened,
yeah,
it must have been, you guys must have been, running around with your hair on fire. You know what I mean? Because
Look, no hair. That's the
well,
proof.
yeah, this is I feel for you. Trust me. Yeah, that's because there's always a danger when something catches fire, like the ready to drink category, because you never know if it's going to last or if it's going to burn
Yeah.
out or if it's going to crash and burn.
Yeah.
I think everybody was surprised that White Claw did what it did and took such a big portion of the market. And then that's when everybody started slapping all the major makers were slapping, a label on something,
Yeah.
already had one, but all the major names, but the true quality out there is the ones that we were looking at. And, that's when your names popped up in front of our radar, but so, you at least you're nimble, but you also, you're sticklers for detail. You don't want to just slap a name and a label and just put up another margarita, because we had them. We had some submitted to us, and some of them, like Ranch Waters, and some of them are really well made, and other ones were they were folding it in, and
I think people who kind of really want a quality product, I think here's the thing: if you look at the trajectory of hard seltzers, right, like grow massively, because they were the first ones coming in and offering a low calorie alternative to beer, right? And that's what's grown them, right? People are wanting to drink healthier. But now it's started to taper off because, honestly, they don't taste great, most of them. Like, they're heavily carbonated, they don't have a lot of flavor. Whereas tequila or tequila-based cocktails, those things are forever, right? Margarita is the #2 most popular drink in the country behind the Bloody Mary. So people are going to want, margaritas. And so really, if you think about it, we're really just a skinny margarita, right?
Yeah.
With a little bit of carbonation. And I would say, actually, by the way, we've deliberately kept our carbonation very, very low.
I was going to say it's not as bubbly as some of the other ones, like the tequila sodas that we get.
Yeah.
That one was. That's why I think that I really enjoyed the flavor of that son of a basil, because it was really savory. It was very different. And not unlike, and I thought about this too, it was not unlike the strawberry margarita mix from Tres Agaves, but not. You know what I mean? It was really
it's definitely less. We made ours a lot less sweet. Like, if there's one thing I have to say, like, the strawberry wasn't necessarily my favorite because it was just a little too sweet for my personal taste.
Mm-hmm.
But that's me, right?
Yeah. I got to say, it's even a great, like, virgin margarita.
Yeah.
If you have kids at home and and they see the parents having, happy hour, hey, can we have, and you don't feel bad about letting them have a virgin, that's well made, organic.
Yeah.
It can't hurt them. And they feel, something you all can share together,
Right.
Gabby, your friends, when you told them that you were going to do this, what did they tell you? Did you get the encouragement? Were they beside themselves? And what kind of reaction did you get?
Well, I waited a while to tell people because I wanted the most frustrating thing is when you have something but you can't give it to anyone. So it's like, and I was constantly having people, when is it launching? When is it launching? When is it launching? So when I told my friends, they were like, what the heck are you doing? Like, that's crazy, but
Tell me they're not using heck these days.
Yeah, but also, like, I'm not surprised. And yeah, they've been so supportive, and it's been really fun to sell something that people like and people enjoy. And whenever I go somewhere, even if I'm flying, I take Damn Right cocktails, and it is always a hit. So I just am grateful to, like, be able to share something. I don't have, like, a software because that's difficult to share. Like, I have a cocktail. Like, I would be making cocktails anyways because I'm the bartender of the group, but this is just so much easier. It's really, really fun, and they love it. And now they're getting a lot of my friends are getting married, and I get to have Damn Right cocktails at their weddings. It's great. It's really fun. Yeah.
What about you, Mark? Are you still just behind the camera doing the numbers or what? I mean,
No, I'm out there. I'm out pounding the streets. I'm like, going out and selling. And my friends are actually like, we have two liquor stores, independent liquor stores in my town. And let's just say that they have been big reorderers of Damn Right cocktails
oh,
because people have been really loving them, and people keep coming in and reordering. So yeah, everyone's been really supportive, and it is great. I really fell in love with tequila. I really hadn't drunk it that much, right, before I started at Tres Agaves. And so, working with Barry August, who was the founder of Tres Agaves, and getting an education in tequila, spending time with Ileana, spending time in, the Tequila Valley was a fantastic experience. And it really made me fall in love with tequila culture and the drink itself. And like, it's pretty much all I drink now. Um, so to be able to do that and like to have something that we were making ourselves and to be able to make a really high quality product for people, something that people wanted to drink, that's just a really, I think, great feeling. Especially out in Silicon Valley where, everyone makes software.
yeah, that's true.
Right. Yeah. Everyone, my friends are all in banking or software. So I am like very unique
They're
in that.
they're digital,
Myself,
right? They're all in
yeah.
digital somewhere.
Yeah.
What sort of okay? So you're literally pounding the pavement doing tastings. Are you like in liquor stores at certain times of the year or of the month? I mean, how does this? Do you have a sales crew that does this, or a promotion company that helps you out? How are you handling this demand and getting it past the lips so that people can buy the 4-pack? This three more
Yeah.
reorder. How does this work for you guys?
Yeah, that's the
That's the challenge,
we
right?
ask ourselves every day. For us, like it's not that difficult now in this season. Obviously it's very seasonal. When we first launched, it was challenging to get it on shelves, obviously being a new product. But now like it's not that difficult to get it on shelves because we have proof of concept and it tastes really, really good. And people know that, and we're unique. And the way that we get it off the shelves is just being as present as possible in the market. And I remember in February, like just one case, but Mark and I are constantly traveling. Mark is in California, which is really nice that he can go to the stores always. But like in February, I went to Texas twice in February, and I increased, just me alone being in the state, I increased sales 1,000% from the month prior. So it's really, this industry is so crazy because it is so archaic in that you have to literally sell liquor store to liquor store. And if you don't do that, then you're going to fail. And so I think so, unless you have like a big name backing you, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, if you have a big name, you obviously have deeper distribution than
yeah, exactly.
right.
They could
Right?
just do nothing and be like, oh, it's Casamigos, it's fine, they whatever. But
Yeah.
obviously,
Oh my God, don't even.
yeah.
The idea of a Casamigos RTD just hurt.
Oh, no, I don't think they're gonna do it.
I don't think they'll do that.
He's gonna,
Yeah.
you don't want to dilute that brand any more than it already is.
Yeah. But we've got partners though. I mean, like, we're partnering with various sales organizations, and we generally, like, for example, like, we can't be in Colorado every week, but yeah, so we have, partners in Colorado, but, who we partner with a distributor to make sure that we're doing tastings, right? Or same with Texas. And, like, we are starting, we're making progress and evolving from that independent liquor store. Not that we don't value our independent liquor store customers, but for example, we're now getting into 5 Total Wine and More's in Texas, right, which is really fantastic, and looking to get into more of them, getting into a Costco in Colorado, right, as a kind of test case. So and then hopefully some good news coming soon about some small chains in California. So we're making those inroads to be able to do that. But the momentum has been really great, and I think that. But as Gabby said, it's hard work. It takes feet. It's the nature of the business. It takes feet on the street to win people over, get it on the shelf, and then you've got to support it with the liquid to lip strategy.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's been huge for us. We do like as many in-store tastings as we can. And our average conversion rate for those tastings is 40%, which in the industry average is 10%. So
Oh, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, the product speaks for itself, you know, as long as we get people to taste it, they buy it. But on that note, we're, you know, in the midst of we're trying to raise capital to fund, you know, our sales program so that we can put people, you know, in the street and hire more people to get this brand kind of growing even more. So that's, you know, right now, obviously the economy is a little crazy, but we're confident that, you know, over the next 4 to 6 months, we're going to be able to get something and, you know, kind of change the trajectory of Damn Right Cocktails. And we're really excited for that.
Are you using a crowdfunding kind of business model, or are you actually looking for angel investors? You know, because each of those, you know, sources of capital present different challenges.
Right. Yeah.
So you know, how is it a combination of both, or is it just one way?
Yeah, it's a combination of both. We haven't launched our crowdfunding page yet, but you know, it's a lot of work to do the crowdfunding, like you know, doing traditional investment with angels or VCs. You know, you have to do the work for the due diligence and pitch and all that stuff. It's really challenging to just even get in front of people. But the crowdfunding is another, you know, it's a huge it's a marketing campaign. So it's constantly, you know, providing giveaways or making videos and just being really active. It's like selling yourself in another way. It's like selling your company online. So it's on top of the work. So we just have to figure out how it's going to work on a day-to-day.
Yeah, and I have to say, I think like the amount of work that goes into, you know, and this is just, you know, truth, I think for any startup, doesn't matter what category, the amount of work that goes into fundraising is absolutely massive. It's just true. You know, and I don't think I really appreciated that because I wasn't in a finance oriented role until I started, you know, worked with Gabby to start this company. So, it's been, I mean, that's part of the learning experience, right?
Well, yeah. You know, I even see tequila companies doing it, you know, consistently. And these are brands that have been around for at least 10 years. These are what I consider what we call legacy brands, where the juice has been there for 10 years. You know, it's the same owner. And now they're doing, you know, a crowd fund, and they got, you know, certain tier levels of support, you know, and each tier level comes with, you know, the final tier level comes with your own barrel with your name on it, and you know, bottle of tequila or something, you know, stuff like that.
And that's the beauty behind doing the crowdfunding, because we have a consumer product. So it really allows consumers who are loyal, you know, shoppers and loyal buyers to put in, you know, even $100 and just say, I'm an investor. I helped that company to get to the next level. It's really a cool thing. And it's such a millennial spirit. And, you know, obviously we're all about millennials. So I think it's a really, really awesome idea. And, you know, I definitely want to get that up. It's just a matter of doing it. But yeah. You know.
Well, you know, like you said, it just takes time. I mean, you just rolled out your online store, so it's like, hey, you know,
and that took so long.
Let's, you know, just slap each other's backs, enjoy it a little bit, and see how it works, and then, you know, and then move on. It's just, you guys are moving so fast now. Do you think that because, and maybe Mark can answer this, I haven't seen any numbers on RTDs that have been where the category is separated from organic versus non-organic. It's kind of like tequila and mezcal. They're lumping it all together and calling it what it is, you know. Are you seeing that also, or can you?
Yeah, I mean, you have to go, like, you have to start looking at the IRI numbers, you know, to kind of get at this. But like, frankly, there's no other brand that's big enough to be an IRI. So, you know, it's kind of very, very hard to tell. I mean, and even like, you know, you have to know, like, okay, which tequilas are organic? Well, Trace and Avion and Dulce Vida, right?
Well,
And those are three big brand names. I mean, obviously, like they're, you know, Avion's at a slightly different price tier, right? But yeah, those are things that, I mean, my personal opinion is that it's in the cocktail space that organic matters more to people, right? Because I think people feel like if I'm buying a vodka or a tequila or a rum, like all the alcohol in there is going to kill anything bad, right? So I'm not as worried about the chemicals. But now I'm putting juice in, right? Now, where does that juice come from? Right? Like, yes, that I actually care about. What pesticides were used on this fruit? Now I really care about what's going into my body. So when you get into the cocktail space, organic really matters a lot.
Are you seeing more and more of that now? Because you guys, when you see consumers, in the tequila aisle or the RTD aisle, do you see where they're reaching for more healthier options?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the data supports that. I mean, I think like just the whole advent of the skinny margarita, the skinny margarita wasn't a thing, I don't know, 5 years ago, 6 years ago.
Yeah, I mean,
It,
there
it,
was one or two that had come out.
Skinny girl.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
skinny girl, right? I
but
mean,
she
By
wasn't.
Bethany Frankel. So she was
Bethany, yeah, but you know what? It turned out that she wasn't even using,
real tequila,
real
right?
tequila. She was using Sauza Mixto, but Joanne, at that point, she'd already sold the brand. So,
yeah.
who made out?
No, I mean, she did. And like, and to be fair to her, she didn't claim she was using 100% de agave. So, as long as she wasn't,
Otherwise,
breaking the rules. But I mean, and let me tell you, the CRT rules are very strict as we have, been through a lot of rounds, not badly with the CRT. We never, just to make sure we were in compliance with them. But yeah, I think you are, you're definitely seeing this trend of everyone, but particularly the millennial generation of saying like, no, we want to put better stuff in our body. We want higher quality stuff. It's like Gabby said, so I think it's really, and you're starting to see that matter at shelf, right? And there's a reason why, every RTD out there is, except Cutwater is limited in calories. Like Cutwater's gone the full alcohol, full calorie. And even then, they're starting to produce 7% alcohol stuff.
I was going to ask you, how did you decide on the ABV? I mean, did you want it a little stronger? Did you not? I know that there's probably some
yeah,
monetary things involved, where you go a little too high,
right.
it costs a little bit more. So what what was the sweet spot? That's
So
what I want to know. Who decided on it?
yeah, and just to paint a picture in regards to the ABV, the double of a lime, this is 110 calories. 97 of those calories are from the tequila. So if we increased, because we messed around with this one to make it a little bit higher, like a 5.3.
Yeah,
but
I noticed
we've
that.
been adding 20 calories. So it was, we didn't want to sacrifice the taste for the calories. So that's why we are above 100, because it was just actually impossible to make it below and get everything that we wanted. But at the same time, we didn't want to push the limit and have us in a category where we're above 130 calories and no one's going to buy us. So we had to we couldn't have everything. We had to compromise. So that was interesting to learn, but also the 5% ABV, the lower ABV is kind of where the trends are headed, where the market is going toward. And that is obviously the most important thing, because that is what our consumers want. That is what people who are buying these kinds of products want. They want the lower ABV. They want something that they can be drinking all day long at anywhere, at the park, and not get too drunk and not feel like crap the next day. So it all kind of worked everything. And then the third piece is obviously the taxing,
Well, yeah.
which we learned. We're learning every single day as we get our permits, and we just launched in Connecticut today with our online site. And if we were above 7%, it would have more than doubled our tax.
Wow. So every state's got a.
Every state is different.
Oh my God. See, and I knew the 3-tier system sucked, but I didn't know how bad it was.
Yeah, if you start a company, a tequila company, like then you will, or an RTD company, you will understand. But it's
no, thank you.
Yeah.
Everybody's always, we've been doing the sipping off the cuff version for 23 years. And people have always asked us, how come you don't come up with your own tequila? I go, what are you, crazy?
Yeah, it's insane.
There are more horror stories and really just heart-wrenching stories, Mark, in this business than success stories. So,
Yeah.
you know, the idea that this is becoming a really quick success for you guys, and the way you're handling it.
Oh,
Well, I mean, you know, relatively speaking, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I think this is, it should, you know, you should be congratulated for what you're doing, because again, you guys are such niche down, because it's, like I said earlier, there's maybe a handful of organic RTDs out there. And,
yeah,
and I would imagine that they're running into the same types of challenges that you are. That
Yeah.
what's unique about it is you've got a guy like Mark who's been there, done that, and knew where to go, whereas, you know, the other ones may not have had. I don't know. I won't know until I actually taste them or interview them.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know what their individual stories
yeah,
are. Now, I know that they are saying, the marketers are telling us that what's important for millennials is not only the item itself, but the story behind it.
hmm
So are you telling you, do you find out you find you telling your own stories again over and over again, and or is there a certain story you tell as a, like a nice elevator pitch, you know? I don't know, how are you handling that?
yeah. I mean, people want, like you said, they especially with consumer products. I think only with consumer products, but they want to know what is behind it, and everything that is succeeding has something that is there's a story behind it, and it is relatable. So I think, you know, adding a person to the brand and adding personality to the brand, and also something that, you know, consumers can get behind is so important, which is why we've, you know, added the charity piece to it, and which is that we are donating a percentage of our profits to charities and programs that support education and quality in the US. So the idea behind that is that, you know, we will work with our retailers, and some retailers like this and want to get involved, and some are like, oh, that's great, that'll be an added value to your brand, but what essentially is, we'll work with them to decide where our money, the percentage of the profits goes to, and it could go, you know, directly into a classroom to help, you know, underfunded schools. And that, you know, Mark and I have a very, when we were talking about the brand and what we wanted the story to be, that we wanted something that both of us could relate to, and have a connection to, and that is giving back to schools, and education. So yeah, I don't know, Mark, if you want to touch on it.
Yeah, I think that what was really great was when Gabby and I were starting this, you know, we had lots of conversation about like, what kind of company do we want to start? And what was really great was we both said, like, we don't just want to start a for-profit company. You know, money is great, but we actually want to do something that's more, that gives back. And we both have come from a background where community service and giving back is really important. And we talked about, like, well, what could we, you know, what cause could we focus on? And really, like, if you think about it, education is the best means for people to change the trajectory of their life. And it's really criminal that so much, you know, in so many states, and it's not in every state, but in so many states, education funding comes from local property tax receipts. But what that means is that if you live in an area with lower house prices, you know, there's a lower tax burden just because it's usually a percentage of the property price. But that also means there's less funding going into education. And some states like Texas make an effort to kind of right size that, and they make transfers. Or in some cases like California, it's just a universal, you know, it goes into one major fund. But then what happens is, you know, the richer neighborhoods, the parents can afford to contribute additional funds. So those funds do so. That basically, you know, there's public, so then there's public schools and there's public schools. So the whole concept of public education kind of goes out the window. And ultimately what we want to advocate for is, first of all, helping the kids in these underfunded school districts who, you know, are kind of suffering this, you know, unfortunate birth code, you know, zip code lottery. But ultimately then, you know, really go and advocate for higher and more egalitarian public education funding so that you don't need, you know, this kind of additional funding that goes on, right?
Yeah, that, you know, in fact, I'm glad Gabby brought it up, because that was where I was headed to. That that I know that there was, you probably tell your individual stories and how you met, pretty much the interview that we've had so far. But there's the other portion of that millennial market is that they at least that's what they're telling us, what we're reading, is that the consumer at that age level wants to know, are they supporting? Is it, are their funds going to go to something that's worthwhile? As much as they're interested in knowing what goes in their body, they want to know where their money's going to go to.
Exactly.
And I like that dual point that you made it part of your package, part of the part of who you guys are.
Right.
Yeah.
So are there any further plans to increase that, or maybe to support other, maybe schools in Mexico or something, or is that like overdone, or is that, something different? I don't know how many libraries you can build in Mexico made of Kobe, you know what I mean? Because we're seeing a lot of that greenwashing, and I'm not sure I buy all of it.
Yeah.
I love where you guys are headed, as far as education in certain states and that kind of thing, because let's face it, it's not, when I went to school, everything was paid for, or I went to a private school later on, but even then, it's seeing where public schools have headed, where now there are these huge things where, people are donating notebooks and crayons and things. It's like,
right.
All that stuff used to be provided for us when we were growing up,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
but now we're seeing less and less of that. And so I like where your message is headed. So are there any further plans to increase that kind of a budget plan? I mean, I don't know.
Absolutely. I want to do everything in all that we can do. Long-term goal would be awesome to have like a charity attached to the brand. I mean, like I said, we have a product that could easily, sponsor events and stuff like that. So as long as we have the platform to do so, I want to do as much as possible.
Yeah. And ultimately, obviously, that would include Mexico as well, because I think, supporting the communities where your product is made, like, we co-pack in the town of Arandas, the tequila is made in Amatitan. So, these are places where, schools do need support, and it would be important to kind of, contribute in both areas as we are able to.
So now that you've been in this game for a little while, what are the challenges that you're seeing that have really stuck out for you guys? I mean, I know you're learning stuff every day, but
how long have you got, Mike?
we got about 15. We got about 15 minutes, but let's just say this. I always ask people when we do an interview like this, and very often there are a couple of partners involved, but I always ask why tequila, but we already approached that. So I always ask, okay, well, what if somebody out there is watching this interview, and we have a wide audience, and they're thinking of doing something similar? Maybe they're thinking of an RTD. I can think of a couple on LinkedIn that I followed religiously, just to see what sort of female-led particular challenges how they're overcoming that and how they're meeting that challenge. What would you ask? What would you tell somebody that would come up to you and go, I want to do what you guys are doing? What would you say to them?
I think first of all, being realistic on what it takes to go to market. Firstly, I mean, obviously that involves so much, but timing wise, and actually having a game plan for where you're producing. Co-packing is a huge thing. We produce in Mexico. There's so many challenges involved with that, just because of it's in Mexico, it's in a different country. So understanding your co-packer and what their how much they can provide to you, because you don't know when they could have you produce or whatever. And also just supply chain, that kind of is the hard. I think the hardest part is actually starting.
Yeah.
And I,
Well,
I
you
mean,
mean,
if I'm
you mean
looking
it's
back,
not over? You haven't gone over that hump yet, huh?
right? No, I know. And like, if I look, I mean, Mark and I, like, I'm sure if we look back, we're like, what the hell? How did we do that? But it was simply just like, we didn't even know. I mean, I personally speak for myself. I didn't even know what the next day was going to bring. I didn't know like how crazy this, like the legal standards from the CRT were, or crossing the border, like, you know, I didn't know the FDA had to approve, like, I didn't know anything. So I think actually realizing every single step that it takes and how to do that, I think what I tell some people who reach out to me always, I say, write a business plan before you do anything, because then it forces you to research exactly what you need to do to get what done, to get it done. And you also need a lot of money. That's
Yeah,
the one.
I think double the amount of money you think it's going to take. I think and then double it again maybe is probably a good
Yeah,
idea.
yeah.
I think I think the big the thing that Gabby touched on, which I think is really important, is especially in these times with so much supply chain uncertainty, and transportation costs going through the roof because of the price of gas, like planning for contingencies is really important. And then also realizing that, you're dealing with an agricultural crop, right? So all of a sudden, there might be a juice shortage, right? Lime crop wasn't so good. We know, the price of agave is still really high, and who knows when that's going to come down. So,
Or if it
you
ever
know,
will.
well, or if it ever will, the price of, cans. Well, canned goods have gone through the roof. So now suddenly cans are in short supply. Plus, a lot of aluminum is made in, guess where? Russia. So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
yeah. So all of these things. And then I think, being realistic about your capabilities on, like, I think one of the things that we did well was a very much a phased launch. We didn't try and launch nationally straight away. Like, picking the right states, building, picking the right distributor is absolutely essential. I mean, really, really essential. And ensuring that you have the capability to go out and, be behind that distributor. The distributors, will not do everything for you. They really
Like
won't.
they're a necessary evil. That's all they are. Especially if you're just a startup. I mean,
right.
Yeah.
nothing changes. You're still going to have to get it past the lips and boots on the ground. That's what you
Yeah,
can do.
I mean, and even if you're self-distributing and you're going through Park Street, don't think that like Park Street or MSW are going to save you money, right? Because from a dollar percentage perspective, like you're still paying the same margin. It's just that now you probably have to do more of the, you have to do more of the work, or it's all on you. So yeah, um, but on the other hand, if you want to, if you don't have a license, an alcohol license, and you just want to be, you can use their license. That saves time and money, right?
No.
So I'm not, knocking their business model. I'm just saying, like, it's not as easy as it looks. I think that's the big thing, and I think industry, perspective is always really important. Make sure you surround yourself with advisors who really understand this business.
Right.
Well,
And also,
yeah,
yeah,
ob-
team.
it's
Yeah.
obvious that you guys, are pretty well, pretty compatible because you've kind of, there's a nice balance between the two of you. How many actual partners do you have? I mean, is it just you two or?
Just the two of us.
Wow, wow, you guys,
Yeah. Yeah. It's
wow.
a lot.
That
But that's
and
startup.
this is a huge undertaking, especially like I said, because of the fact that you guys are organic. But the lovely part of it is that it is moving off the shelf, and it has. I guess your end result has been successful because you're seeing the case movements, and uh, when you hear from consumers, what kind of are you getting that? Because that's always, for me, that's always been, when you talk to the end consumer, which is the average person, and they, for instance, in our case, when they thank us for doing a much more lengthy tasting than the 4-minute sound bites that some of the other people are putting out there. What sort of great thank yous are you getting from your consumers that you're going, wow, man, I guess we're doing okay. You know what?
Yeah.
And I would imagine it's different for both of you.
Yeah, no, that's the best part. That I get, my friends texting me. My one friend texted me yesterday, and she was like, I went into X store in Colorado, and the lady who sold it to me said, these are, I guess these are really good because they're selling well. And just getting that kind of text message is awesome. But yeah, to answer your question, like I get only positive feedback. I don't know if
Yeah.
I don't know if people are just being nice to me, but I believe in the product, and it's really exciting to see. It's so
Yeah,
fun.
we haven't gotten a single negative email or negative comment on social media or anything like that. And like I love that people like, friends are sending me, like going, oh well, I just cleared out, this store, better
Yeah,
make sure they reorder.
that's great.
So yeah, and generally, the feedback from retailers has been really good too. So I think that, we're getting the momentum, and we can't wait to get it to more people.
Yeah.
Well, how many states are you folks in right now?
Now
We're in
we're
five, right?
well, we just launched in Connecticut, so 6.
Yes, six. You're right. Sorry, I keep forgetting. I'm sorry, I keep forgetting Rhode Island. That's what my problem
No,
is.
I know. I keep it's a little small.
Rhode Island. Yeah, well,
Massachusetts,
so what is it? It's California, Colorado,
is,
Connecticut, right?
Yeah,
Texas.
yeah,
Texas, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island.
yeah.
Okay. Now, when next year, I'd imagine you start rolling into other states. What other states are you looking to get into? I mean, you got to look in New York or Florida, right?
Yeah, Florida's definitely under consideration. So is New York, New Jersey, so is Illinois. And
Good.
then, but so are some other ones like, Minnesota, for example, or Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
The other thing to consider is like, right now we're not in any states which are control states. And so potentially, looking at going with, say, Virginia or Ohio, which are very big states, right? But typically, when you look at like, where is tequila sold most? Where is the highest per capita consumption of tequila, right? It's kind of the states we just named.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's not just because, and you've got to look at, beyond population, right? So you can look at it per capita basis. So that's where we kind of, need to focus our time, and ultimately, hopefully we get up to Washington State as well, on the West Coast, because there's actually quite a bit of tequila drunk there.
Yeah. Of course, they've got some pretty expensive pricing up there. Even after they used to be a control state, but not anymore. And even then, they still have those high taxes. And I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't understand how that worked out. And that's the thing with control states is that every state runs it differently. I have one of our tasters. We have 13 tasters now throughout the U.S. and one in the U.K. And I have a guy in Ohio, and he just laments every time we come online to do the tasting. He tells me how bad Ohio really is, and it's
Oh my
and
God.
it's seeing how it wants to improve, and it kind of like fits and starts. But every state has its own control state, has its own set of hoops to jump through, I guess.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah, and they want to demand a certain margin. They want to demand a certain, um, yeah. And who knows? Maybe we'll change our model a little bit, depending on the state that we go to. Because the thing about us that's different is we're not really going to have a big on-premise business, right? There's just not that many kinds of bars that are going to sell cans.
True.
Um, you know, so maybe we'll be able to change our model and go directly to the control boards in certain states.
Might be, I don't know. Again, it opens up a whole can of worms because whatever.
Yeah.
I used to know a gentleman who had a line of tequila. He lived in Washington, and he said he actually preferred working with control states because he already knew what the routine was and how to get in front of those boards and what to say and how to be accepted. And I've heard completely opposite. So I guess it just depends on who you are and what you're used to working in.
Yeah, yeah, and what you prefer. Exactly.
So
Exactly.
where do you see yourselves in 5 years? How's that? I mean, you've got your business plan, and obviously, you're the traction you've gained. It sounds incredible, but where do you see? Do you see, Mark? Do you see the RTD and this thing becoming sustainable? Is it no longer a fad? Is it here to stay now?
I mean, I think it's here to stay. Growth projected to be 46% this year. It's a $5.6 billion industry. And like the thing is that people want cocktails that they can go and take with them places. They don't have to make it. I mean, this is the genesis which Gabby came into. And I think that we could see ourselves expanding, outside of tequila, into other agave spirits or into other, kind of more interesting, other interesting spirits like everything from rum to cachaça to, various other things. I'd love to see us even think about, I mean, going international. I think tequila is becoming more and more popular in Europe, for example. And I was in the UK this year, more and more tequila being drunk there. Germany, more and more tequila being
Oh
drunk.
yeah.
So, RTDs have been around in these places. What in the UK they were called alco pops. It was really malt seltzers. And so I think that you're going to see, RTDs actually doing really well over there. So I don't see why we couldn't, you know, get over there. Now, you want to talk about taxation. Like British taxation on alcohol is extreme, but yeah,
Yeah.
it's a whole other thing that we,
Giving back would probably be prohibitive with their tax thing.
yeah,
But there's always a way to work with it. The nice thing about Europe is you're not necessarily working with a three-tier system.
right.
So and yeah, agave spirits of all kinds has been growing. I can tell you that from just submissions that we get, we've had agave spirits from South Africa. We've had them from New Zealand. I did get one from Germany that is just superb. It is so well.
Really?
What's happening is that this particular distillery, which is they call themselves Selva Negra, which is Black Forest. That's where the distillery is located, somewhere near the Black Forest. And what they're doing is they're importing organic Siciliana agave, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
And so it's coming to them as a concentrate, I think, because it is
Interesting.
certified organic. And then they take it to their distillery, run it through their stills the way they want to do it, and they have a superb. I had to hide it from myself. I still have it. They said I got it. We got samples. Our guy in the UK got it. I got it, and it's really good. And the only thing that's missing is that they want to get the organic, the organic seal, and I'm not sure if that's USDA or the German organic version of that, but it's so well made, and it's got such great character. It's amazing where we're getting this from, and I'm waiting to see what Australia does. I know I'm on that short list because right now Australia is they're the next big wave coming in. And I was going to ask you, the headlines that I see, and you've seen them too, Mark, where tequila will overtake whiskey and next year it'll overtake vodka. As well as I do, especially you having worked in an organic distillery with organic farms, that's not sustainable.
Yeah.
That kind of growth is not good for the industry. And that's what scares me. You're already talking about how expensive the plants are. I can only imagine what organic agave is going for at this point.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, look, there's a natural supply and demand, and I think at a certain price point, like even the low end tequilas will start to go up, and the demand will kind of cut itself off. Like, what I hope is that the category doesn't become like Scotch, right? Where it's just so, I mean, we don't have the aging problems that Scotch does that makes it really expensive, but it's I would see that. I don't know. What do you think, Gabby?
I mean, I I did not think about I did not think about like the actual supply and how that would affect things like the environment even. And
We could talk another 15 minutes about that.
I know, and it's funny, and it's bad that I didn't think about that, but I guess you're right. Like the fact that it is headed in this direction of hyper growth, it's really quite scary, and I guess it is cause for concern, certainly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's of course a concern for quality because already, right, like plants are being harvested at, 3,
Right.
4, 5 years old. And and that just means you're going to have lower bricks. So you're going to either sacrifice quality
Right.
or you're going to have to use more tequila to get your same thing, right, to do your
Right.
production. And so, ultimately, I think the CRT has a choice to make, right, which is like you've got a very limited growing area, right, for blue web or agave. Like, do you expand it, right?
I think they should.
Allow agave to be grown in other places. I mean, yeah, who knows?
Something has to give, I think, hopefully.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't, then everybody in that chain, all the way down to the RTDs are going to be affected. And I don't even want to start with the environment because that's a whole other. I wrote a book on that. I actually have a few books on that, and yeah, it's amazing. That's why I say it's not sustainable. Not only does it take a lot of water to make tequila, but then the wastewater that is produced afterwards. And like I said, I don't know how much. I don't know how many adobe bricks you can make out of agave fiber. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I mean the vinasse problem is definitely an issue, but I mean I think that there are established ways to deal with that.
Well, but it's been a problem since even before I wrote the book. And what I'm seeing now is I'm hoping that these processing plants, become bigger and more investors look into it because it's just not only is it smart business, but it's great for the environment. If you can have a major plant that can process all that stuff, because these guys are not going to stop. I mean, these major producers are not going to.
Yeah.
So anyway, but that's a whole other. I don't want to put a damper on your dreams or anything because it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't matter. Sometimes the passion just carries you through, and that's what I've seen, and that's kind of what I hope to see from companies like yours is that what you stand for and the passion that people see behind the people behind the brand, that they support some up and coming brands like yours who stand for something and care about whether it's education, the environment, so giving back to the community that they come from, all that stuff. That all makes sense, and it can only be better for the category as far as I'm concerned. So,
yep.
But anyway, thank you for being here. I know we've gone over an hour. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but thank you for giving us a little bit of an insight on Damn Right Cocktails, folks. Remember the name. It's Damn Right. Gabby, give us the website again so they can go order it. Now you can, as of an hour ago, you can order it online.
Yeah, visit damnrightcocktails.com, and at the top you can find where you can buy it. It'll say buy.
It says buy right now.
Yeah, buy right now.
Buy.
And
damn right you will.
Yeah, exactly.
Free shipping on your first order if you put in damn free as a discount.
Damn free is your discount, folks. Remember that. Damn free. Thank you, Gabby Fitzpatrick and Mark Lewis. Thank you for I'm so used to calling you by your first names.
We're easygoing people. You don't need to bother with the family names. It's good.
And it's nice to be able to put a face to the name now, Mark. Because it's been a few years.
It has. I know.
But Gabby, I've watched your interviews before, some of the ones you've been doing on Instagram Live. It's been fun to see you, and this is, I think, the first time Mark's ever actually been in an interview. So because I really wanted you on there because I knew we had some kind of communication going for a long time, and like I said, we have a mutual friend that kind of brought your brand to our attention, and I'm so glad that we did it. Folks, you have been watching and listening to Open Bar on Tequila Aficionado Media on all of our channels and networks. Please follow us on our Instagram. Follow Damn Right.
Yes.
Follow Damn Right. You know, tell them if you bought the stuff, tell them what you think, tell them that you had a great time, tell them, take a picture of it, post it, tag them on online, do all the stuff that we ask you to do for us.
I'll tell you what, I'll go one better. If you post a photo of your Damn Right and tag us, we'll send you a free t-shirt.
Oh, swag, swag, folks.
Swag time.
Swag
exactly.
time. So now you've heard it from the horse's mouth, Jesus, from the guys who own the brand and have put it together. Continued good fortune to both of you. I'm going to be watching when your next recipes come out. I want in, okay?
You're there first, Mike.
I'm sold. I love the organic RTD category. For me is the most exciting of all the ones that are out there right now, and it's so small right now that you know when it comes to quality in the RTD segment, I really like where the organic part of it is going. So congratulations to both of you. My best to both of you. You know, when you talk to Ileana Partida and the family there, whenever you guys make it back there, tell them I said hi. She's on my hit list to interview as well. So hopefully I'll be able to do that real soon, because we're a one-man band here, you know, pretty much. But thank you folks for watching. Don't forget, if you're watching us on YouTube, hit the notification bell, give us a like. It does help us with the algorithm. And you know, whatever you do, tomar sabiamente, sip wisely. Thanks guys for being here with us.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much, Mike.
Bye.